Hey guys, Dr. Greg Rose here with On Base University. Want to answer a question that we've been getting a lot, and that's really about some of the new technology coming into baseball, specifically the 3D motion capture and looking at the kinematic sequence. We're looking at the sequence in which players move, and the best players in the world, there's a very common sequence that we see with the most efficient hitters or pitchers, and that's the lower body decelerates first, the trunk goes second, the arm for hitters go third, and then the bat would go fourth. So that we call that a 1, 2, 3, 4 sequence. Now, there's a lot of hitters out there that don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4 sequence, and people are like, well, then how can this research be valid if there's lots of hitters? Well, first of all, just because you have a good kinematic sequence or good sequence doesn't mean you're going to be in the major leagues, right? You can have a 7-year-old that has the right sequence. That just means they know how to fire their muscles and coordinate in a fashion to efficiently transfer power through their body. And just because you have a bad sequence doesn't mean you can't get to the majors. I think the best way to understand this is imagine you've got a 4-stage rocket. Let's say we're NASA and we're going to launch a rocket into space, right? And we have 4 sections of this rocket. Each section has its own thrusters, right? Ideally, what you would do is you would start the main thrusters, the bottom one would go first. That kind of represents your lower body. Then, as you start to get into orbit, the second one, your trunk would fire, and the first one would drop off. Then the third one would fire, and then the nose cone, and each one adds power and speed and makes it easy to get out into space. Now, what happens if the first thrusters don't work? Could you still get into space with the next 3 thrusters? Yeah, of course you can get into space. Is it as easy with the 4? Probably not. I look at someone as big as Aaron Judge. Heck, he could probably get into space with 1 or 2 thrusters, right, and get all the way out there, but it requires more energy, more effort. It could cause some injuries, some breakdowns if you do that. So we always say, listen, the most efficient way to do this, and this is what we see with the guys that tend to create the most velocity and tend to have the longest careers, they use all of their thrusters in the right sequence, in the right time, and it makes the game easy. And that's the key with the kinematic sequence, looking at how you create power, how you transfer your power. Efficiency is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's not the only thing that you need to get on to be a professional player. And once you have that great kinematic sequence, if you add things like courage at the plate, reaction time, hand-eye coordination, that's what makes the great players the great players.